Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Pacific Calls. Check them out. Pacific will be at Dive Bomb at Squad Fest. Come out and see us this weekend at Squad Fest. Visit with Alex, Trevor, and the group. I am Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
That's right. Excited to be here.
Yep. With us today, one of our part of the family, Josh Moore, his dad, Aaron Moore, ex-Special Forces, has got a book out called Fractured States. Great book. Highly recommend it. Aaron, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yep, we look forward to it.
What I can't even pronounce that word. Apocalyptic is the word I'm looking for. Novel.
What makes it apocalyptic?
No. I couldn't pronounce the word. It's a post-apocalyptic novel. These spin me out. I got to tell you. I've read a couple of these series, and I read them, and then I get all spun out, and I'm pretty sure the world's coming to an end, and I buy a whole lot of life straws.
Yeah. Yeah. And iodine tablets.
Tablets, yes.
Yeah, and stored food, Okay, so this is not really my genre.
Uh-huh.
I'm a big fantasy, J.R.R. Tolkien, Edgar Rice Burroughs, Tarzan and John Carter of Mars. So a buddy of mine who was a cop in California absolutely hated his life for the last 10 years. He since moved to Tennessee and rejoined the Union of the United States. He started getting into this genre because he basically wanted to see post-apocalyptic stuff happen to California.
Oh,
in his sick mind. So he started writing years ago. His name's Rick Tippins. He's been my friend for we're close to 40 years now. We met in the Marine Corps. He went off and became a cop. I stayed in the Corps, and he started writing in this genre. So when I was in Baghdad as a contractor, he started hitting me up, and like you read bits and pieces of this genre, and then I'm sitting there on the United States' largest embassy in the world. And I kept thinking, damn, what happened? So the book started developing about 3-4 years ago, and we would talk about the books he was writing, and then I would jot down notes, and then slowly over time it developed until finally I got off my butt and got it published.
And put this down. How long did it take you to write this?
About 3.5 years.
3.5 years?
Yeah, maybe more, 4.
And it's just, So like when did it take that, like how much of like intensive writing? Like I know you were like jotting notes and like jotting little ideas around. Like were you for 4 years, were you like working on this thing?
No. So
like pen to paper?
The general rule of thumb is you try to get, I guess when you look at it from an author standpoint, you try to get 2,500 words down a day.
Wow.
And when you look at it from your old college days or whatever, you go, wow, that's, every day. I'm more like a 1,500, maybe 500.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, it just kind of comes together. But like with me, I would have to do a lot of research into, and ordering books on how to write, or how do you do dialogue? How do you do, because I'm writing from what I say is a Marine brain,
mm-hmm.
which I don't want to, I know what I'm trying to get across, but you don't know what I'm trying to get across because you didn't experience it with me.
Right.
So now I've got to demonstrate to you, not tell you what's going on.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Bring the writer into your head.
Yeah. Which is frightening.
The reader.
Nobody come into this thing.
So the thing that I'm always like, whenever I read things like this or I watch movies like this, like I'm always just so alarmed at how fragile our grid actually is, and like how easy it would be to take us down to our knees and set us back hundreds of years, if not thousands.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So, you read these books, but I think what's interesting, especially about my personal experience and some other authors, is I've seen it. I've been around like in almost 22 years in the Marine Corps, I've been there where the grid isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no law and order, right? So that's the basis of these post-apocalyptic genres, is it all comes unglued. Well, we're so reliant on that, and we're so kind of urban instead of suburban anymore.
Yeah.
That the collapse is a slow build in real life, and then the floor is pulled out from under everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see in real time, right? You don't want to write this in fiction, but you want to show a picture of it. In real time, it becomes very quickly every man for himself.
Right.
And when, I guess because I've seen it, I'm like, the power grid is almost the least of our worries. It's our neighbors that become or could become a potential threat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, we'll figure it out.
Right.
But bad people don't suddenly go away because they no longer have power or whatever. So somebody's always going to want to take your stuff.
Well, and it's just good, not even bad people. It's just good people that are desperate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing with fiction. You might have, and you'll run into them, Jeff, when you're reading this, is there's some people in there, which kind of shocked my wife. She just looked at me in bed and was like, is this, so-and-so, like, what's going on? I said, well, bad decisions by good people.
When your kids are hungry, it's different when you can't buy your kids something at a store today. But we're talking no electricity, no nothing. And your neighbor has prepared, and he's got 100 pounds of beans and rice in his cellar or something, and your kids are starving to death, and he's eating. It's hard not to try to go get some food. I mean, you're talking about survive. It's a different world than what we live in now. We're talking about there's no law and order hardly at all. You're going to do what you can. Well, if you're the guy that did save and has those food, you're going to do everything you can to protect it because it's your survival. So
yeah, I mean, it's down to our base level. Like if you're not part of my group or my tribe, and you don't, that's another thing that I like about the post-apocalyptic thing. This whole kind of thought process where, let's just accept everybody. Yeah. If you're in one of those situations where every mouth to feed is detrimental to you, they have to provide value, right? So, you look at you guys, you don't bring a guide in that has never blown a duck call.
Right.
What's he going to do for you?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has to be an asset. Everybody has to be an asset.
Everybody. So if somebody shows up in dire need, and what you'll see, and once again, guys, I just look at, somebody can poo-poo it as being fiction. I've seen it in the real world. If you don't offer value to somebody, you're out on your own. And there's a whole group of people in these countries that are out on the fringe that, one day you'll see them and the next day you'll see them laying in the gutter, because they didn't add or whatever. They weren't part of a group that could help protect them.
The first one of these top books that I read was 1 Second After, which was a really good book. And then they had 1 year after. And it was about a guy in North Carolina. And I think he was ex-military professional, special forces type deal. And they had an EMP hit. And it talked about all the things that we take for granted. And one of the things that really struck me was the nursing home situation.
Oh, my God.
Because the people that work at that nursing home, they're not getting paid. They're not going back to that nursing home.
No.
So you've got 100 people laying in these beds that are just going to shit all over themselves, puke over themselves, and the medicines. They ain't getting their medicines, so it's a terrible, terrible death, and it's quickly is full of fungus or not fungus, I guess, bacteria. It's a bad place to be. Then the guy's daughter had diabetes, and she was on insulin. Did. So he went to the pharmacist and got all the diabetes medicine he could get, but you got to keep it cold. Well, there's nowhere to cold, so he had to keep it. He put it in a water pouch, sealable pouch, and put it in the toilet, in the back of the toilet commode that had water in it where it could stay a little cool. But we don't think about simple things like How many people? I'm 58 years old. I take blood pressure medicine every day.
Yeah.
Have to. If I didn't take it, I'm probably going to starve to death during this apocalypse. I'm probably going to lose weight, so it's probably not going to be bad anyways. But there are millions of people in this country that take a pill every day that keeps them alive, whether it's a heart medicine, blood pressure medicine, whatever it is. That's not going to be there for you.
No.
There's nothing you can.
And that's, you know, nobody looks at those second, third order effects, right? So if you're on medication that is keeping you alive, you're going to die off at some point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
You are.
And it's going to be, it's almost, I call it like, it's almost, and it's unfathomable to most people, but, you know, walk around Somalia in the early stages or Ethiopia. That's what's going to be like as a global event. Because you also, like, if the situation happens in the United States, how many people do we feed across the globe?
Right.
So now that's affected. I mean, it's going to be, I always call it, it's going to be a biblical moment where it's almost unfathomable. And then you think about, now you got to look at diseases. So people don't have their medication. So they're going to, I mean, hundreds of millions of people are going to die.
Yeah, that's now, and there's people that have advantages. There's some preppers out there. I used to always, if we had a nuclear warhead go off in our country, I hope I go with it. I don't want to have to live through that shit. I have the deal. This EMP stuff is a little different thing than having a nuclear warhead go off. If we have an EMP in Knox City, Texas, our survival rate's going to be a whole lot better than it's going to be living in the inner city of any city in the United States.
Absolutely.
Any city.
Absolutely.
The same as if you go, we just got back from small town up in the Northeast in Maine. Those little towns and those communities will be fine because there still is a little bit of education back in the old days from grandpa let you down when they didn't have a lot of things. You got wood to burn for fire. Our biggest problem here is going to be water.
Yeah.
Where you go up north or somewhere where you got clear, nice running streams and stuff, they've got water veins. But we can hunt here. We don't have people going to come in here, and we can fortify as a group. Will. No, but we could fortify as a group. But people in the Metroplex, the average person, I think, has 3 days worth of food in their house.
Yeah.
Those people in the big cities that go to the market every day and don't ever stock up, they're screwed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right. So when the United States first started out, I mean, history's like the best lesson anywhere. So the United States, when it first started out, was all outside the cities. And then there was a mass migration as technology advanced, blah, blah, blah. Everybody went to the urban centers. Well, when all technology ceases, like with an EMP, and I'm with you, a nuclear strike is a completely different ballgame. Like there are no winners ever on nuclear strikes on anywhere on the planet, right? If you survive the blast, the horrific secondary effects, third order effects, it's just, you want to go with the first flashlight. But everybody is, now you're going to start the migration out of the city centers. And that's where you're going to run into people. You're going to have roving vans that see what you have and going to want to come in and get it.
Yeah. And like, it's just crazy. Like we call ourselves civilized now, but you go 4 days without food and water, you're going to see people for what they really were. For what they were a long time ago. And I mean, just rape, pillage, plunder, like you're going to see what human beings are capable of.
Yeah, you're going to do what you have to do to survive. And like Jeff said, if you're trying to feed your kids, we saw it in Iraq in the early stages of the war. There'd be, the whole military age male thing. Well, I'd see guys sitting on the side of the road waiting for somebody to come up and hire them to do something. Well, a lot of times the bad guys would come up, hire them for $20, 20 American dollars to go bury an IED somewhere. Mm-hmm. Well, the guy doesn't hate us. He doesn't hate he's got to feed his kids. So he goes and buries that thing. He ends up dead because somebody's watching that road. I mean, it's just a horrible thing. But when you see that collapse, people are doing some desperate stuff, and it's pretty tragic.
Yeah. How long do you think it would take for this mass exodus out of the city? Everything goes dark or whatever, power grid's down. Do you think smart people are going to like try to get ahead of it and leave right away? Or do you think they're going to be like, it'll come back on, and they wait 3 or 4 days and try to leave with the big bands of people?
The people like, what is that one? Doomsday Prepper. There's a television show.
Yeah.
And I'm not like a huge prepper thing. I've taken precautions to be able to handle, at least a week without power, because I live in northern Texas. But there's one show where a gal lived in an apartment, and she had a backpack, and boom, and she was ready like when the lights went out. So there's going to be people that have thought about this that are going to exit immediately, because there is no future in those environments. It's going to become very much, Mel Gibson and what is that, Road Warrior-ish, real quick. And then when the mass exodus, it's like the human trafficking thing from Mexico into the United States. Those people are going to be taken advantage of by the people that can take advantage of them across that whole process to wherever they end up, if they ever get where they end up.
What about, this is my thoughts on this thing. You're going to have your prepper people that are going to go, and they're not going to be a big problem, I don't think, to people where we are in the country. It's that big herd of people that's going to come. But those people are going to sit around for 3 or 4 days waiting on people to tell them what to do or what's going to happen. And then when they realize that they don't have, we're talking walking too. There's not going to be any vehicles. What are the percentages of vehicles that we have actually that will work after an EMP goes?
Well, I mean, I don't know what a percentage would be. I've talked to some of the guys, like in the authors group we're in, which is Raven Thorn Publishing, which is, we'll talk about them a little later, but there's quite a few preppers in there. So there's a lot of things that can mitigate an EMP, like where your vehicle's stored, how old it is, things like that. So there could be machinery that's still operating.
Okay.
If it's in like a Faraday cage type of environment, but that's going to be real limited, and that's going to be a key commodity, right? So when they talk about, people hoarding gold and all this other stuff, I don't necessarily believe that gold's going to be a big price. What I've seen around the world is booze. Booze is the currency of the day. So if you have those little airplane bottles, you can get a lot of stuff. And then, believe it or not, I mean, Playboy, like pornography magazines and booze were big in the Middle East for bribing your way through places you weren't supposed to go.
You want some gold? No, you got the Hustler.
Yeah, right. No, you got
the new Hustler.
I need this month's Hustler. Boy, I'm back.
Yeah, Hustler and Jack Daniels.
1972 Hustler, man. Come on.
Yeah, and you can have that tank right there. Okay, let's say that 5% of the vehicles in any place work. Well, those people are going to be powerful people. So people are going to be trying to kill to get those
people are going to be a target.
But you also got to be able to get gas to do them, and most gases run out of electricity and pumps. So those big hordes of people that are going to come out where we live in the middle of nowhere, it's going to take them a while to get here. If they get here, it's going to be a long time, a long trek. Yeah. I think those places that are 20 miles outside of a city center, Decatur, Texas, places like that around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, those are going to be ground zeros for big cartel type things that are going to develop.
Yeah. So you're going to have your black market, right?
Yep.
It'll get established immediately.
Yep.
But I think too, these mass migrations of people, and it's going to be horrible for them, are going to stay more towards the roads. Like where you guys are at. You guys aren't on a main freeway, are you?
No.
12 miles either way off. Yeah. 277 and 82.
I mean, you're going to see, to me, people, you have to be very judicious about how you spend your energy, right?
Right.
So people are not going to just go, oh, I wonder what's over that hill, right? There has to be something that draws them over there. Smoke signal, they saw people, something like that. So if you're off kind of the main avenues of approach, so to speak, you're going to be relatively safe from those for a while until you get, once again, the guys with cars and all that other stuff. They're going to be doing some scouting.
I think some small towns. I think you'll see some communities that will band together because they're going to find out that it's easier for 10 or 20 families to survive than it is for one family.
Until food starts running out.
But where we
Thing,
are,
like you got this hunky dory that you're going to get 6 of your best buddies together and you're going to band together. Motherfucker, shit starts running out in a hurry. And like you said, drinking water's a problem. So who's going to be the first one to just yeller at her? What's Lenny and saying? What's of Mice and Men where he shoots his buddy?
Yeah, we've got a solar water pump right here. So we have water here at the lodge. We'll just say the lodge, for example. We could build a compound here.
We don't have that.
We would have to walk out here.
We don't have it, Jeff.
Okay, we
thought about putting one in one day.
Yeah, we don't have one.
Oh.
But we can grow.
Those are nice to have.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have.
Yeah, we can grow a garden here and things like that.
Yeah.
The transition, but once you get to a 6 months to a year in, you could develop some kind of thing. Plus, we have game to shoot and stuff, and we have a lot of ammunition. We're going to be groups like that. Every small town's going to have it. The big cities, you're not going to have that deal. The big cities are going to starve to death. Now, you're going to run out of things we don't take for tampons, toilet paper, things like that.
But then, okay, those are not necessities, right?
No,
those are nice to haves.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds gross, but those are nice to have. So there will be, I can see where towns come together and, fortify and defend. And then what I also think you'll see, just like it was brought up, is that, they might be your hunting buddies and everybody's together, but if somebody's not pulling their weight, they're going to get pushed out.
Excommunicated real fast.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and it could be a family member, but if they become a drain on the resources, I mean, there's a reason why some of the ancient cultures, when people got too old, and this is horrible, but it's historical, or a baby was born with a defect, they left them out exposed.
Right.
I mean, and it's horrible, but that's survival, right? And then the old people like, hey, it's time for you to go. And they wandered out and got eaten by bears or whatever.
Just walk to the sunrise.
Yep, we might be on our way out, man.
Right?
I'm right behind you.
The food, all that, it's just going to be a lot of issues that people take for granted because we have a very soft society. In that,
Or just when you get that first cold in the when you get the sniffles a little bit, and you just gotta raw dog it through the man flu.
Yep.
It's gonna be horrible. I think about my oldest son has asthma real bad. Well, like if I've got a young kid and he has his first asthma attack and there's no hospital to go to, like I'd probably just gonna lose my kid because I didn't have the inhalers and the albuterol and everything else that we needed. When you go to the hospital, it's no big deal. Like they see it a couple times a day. Like it's rinse and repeat. They've got the procedure and they get them back up and running again. But you rewind the clock 1,000 years and you just got a dead kid on your hands.
Yeah. Or so this is part of the whole, and maybe that's another book in the future, but you look at this direction, whether you agree with them or not, the whole health and human services thing is this modern, there's stuff that is coming about more regularly now because of our modern living. So if you're eating cleaner, are you going to have these effects? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a scientist or a doctor.
those albuterols and stuff, those pharmacies will be the first things hit up on.
Well, I think so. This is just my oldest son was taken early, like maybe we think like maybe like up to 2 weeks early from what he was originally supposed to be. And
Delivered, you mean?
Delivered, yep. So your lungs are the last thing to develop on a baby. So if you take a kid that is, because originally when we first found out we were pregnant, it was going to be first week of November, like November 5th, 6th, or 7th, right in that range. He ends up coming October 25th. So if my wife was off on her calendar, like his due date could have been November 10th. and he came out October 25th. So he could have been only 38 weeks old instead of 40, didn't have developed lungs, and then that's how he developed asthma. Is how we think he got asthma.
Do they think it'll go away when he gets older?
Probably not. I think it's just one of those things that it's not as bad as it used to be. Like this was the first year. Every winter he's had a croup attack, and we end up going to the hospital, and it's an all-night deal. Since he was 1 year old, he's 10 now. We've gone every winter except for this last winter. We didn't have to go to the hospital.
Well, what would happen is the judge would go down to the pharmacy, and I would rob them suckers of all that Buterol and stuff. But I'm gonna be in line with everybody.
If there's any left.
Well, no, I'm gonna be in line behind somebody else because what's gonna happen is when it happens, people are gonna be in shock, and they're not gonna realize what happened until 12, 24, 36 hours. Because the phones don't work, the cell phones.
Yeah, that's the thing.
As soon as I
so
go,
you're not worried about the people that are like in their little cocoon thinking the government's going to come save them. You're worried about other people like you that are like, ooh, I need to go get this.
Yeah. Well,
so you're both desperate, and now how's that going to end up?
Yeah. My car, I go outside, my car don't start, and my cars don't work. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
And some people will, but I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to sit around waiting on the government to come help me because I don't trust the government now. But that's what's going to happen to these people in these big cities. They're going to all sit around waiting for Uncle Sam to come flying in with the military and drop off power generators and all shit. That ain't happening because if that happens, we're in war. Like in your book, the Chinese put EMPs in this country. Well, we're going to try to fight back against that. We're not.
Yeah. So later, so it's followed by, right? So the whole premise is, and I used to think about this because I won't tell you the tower number or anything, but I used to sit on the tower and I'd look over the Tigris River and I'd look into the red zone of Baghdad at night, and I'd just be thinking, what happens if the United States, if our umbilical cord is cut, right? Mm-hmm. The embassy itself is not powerful. I mean, it kind of is, but it isn't really, because you're sitting in a nation, an entire nation. And I used to think all the time, like, if we no longer had the United States, like, on speed dial, now there's a Army unit right across the street of the U.S. Embassy. There's other units, but here's the thing you got to think about. Once something like that occurs, the embassy itself is no longer viable, and the military units are going to fall back to positions where they can protect themselves. Mm-hmm. That's things people don't think about. So that unit right across the street that protects the embassy, he's gone. They're going to Jordan. They're going to consolidate in Jordan. Basically like the human migration here, as when they have the assets, they're going to pick up. Not sure they'll take as many people as they can, but they're going to Jordan where the other military units are, and then they're going to consolidate and try to figure out what's going on so they can strike back. But like in the genre I'm writing in, the Chinese and the North Koreans already land on either coast, and they get a little eye-opening about, kind of how the United States is wired,
Right. Yeah. We've said, our position in the world helps us to not get invaded. You got oceans on either side of us, and everybody has guns here. I say everybody.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guns in the United States. So it's not just going to be easy for some foreign country to come over here. They're not just going to walk through. I'm not saying that they wouldn't get the job done eventually, but it's not going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah. I don't think they would. I mean, I think eventually there's just too many people and there's too much. I mean, we forget. I mean, we see glimpses of it, like in North Carolina with the floods down in southern Texas. We see glimpses of Americans, which I don't think is really illustrated enough. When FEMA and it's great, right? I'm with the government. I'm here to help. You're going to find most military guys that spend any time there are not real positive on that kind of statement, because we've been in there, we've seen what's going on. Not saying that it's all bad or evil or anything like that. I'm saying that it takes time to get moving. Where it's a little refreshing to see people with personal helicopters. They're delivering stuff. They're trying to find people. The government's trying to run them out, like in North Carolina it happened. People with private helicopters the government's saying, hey, you can't fly in there. The civilian population is like, yeah, okay, thanks. And then they fly in there and rescue people. And then the government's like, don't do that again. And they're like, yeah, okay, great. And they just keep doing it, right? Same thing in southern Texas. Right now, there's groups out there doing what they can do to help. Because everybody forgets that everybody that came to this country at some point or another was like one of those people that is just like, hey, what's over there? I have no idea, but I'm going to go find out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's in our DNA. We're just like, we're people that don't like to be told what to do, don't like to be controlled, even though it seems like it's getting less and less. But I mean, if you pushed hard enough, I think you'd find out that DNA is still down there somewhere.
Yeah. You know, something that came to my mind, you were talking about Iraq and just watching those people over there. It would be shocking how quickly Americans adopted some of the same barbaric behavior that we have condemned them for so long. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So
you know, and I agree. Like, you know, the question is, are they bad people? Well, are they, or are they just out of options? A lot of them.
Yeah. And I mean, that's it. There's a great book. It's written by a Jewish guy, Masters of the Planet. And it talks about the evolution of humanity, like hominids as a species. And he covers we are a violent group of animals out here. We're just, and it's horrible. And at the end of the day, if it's, you know, that's the common thing. How important is survival to you individually? And then as fathers and husbands, what are you capable of to protect the family you're entrusted to protect?
Yeah.
And you're capable of cutting people's heads off, throwing them off of buildings, doing all that stuff. Everybody's capable of it.
Yeah. That's why I like listening to Dr. Peterson so much, because he talks about the shadow a lot that's in everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if that's not in you, that was in one of your ancestors, or you wouldn't have been here. Because a long time ago, you go far enough back and your ancestors had to make some very difficult decisions on how they were going to spread their genes into the future and live long enough to do it. Like, I mean, I can't remember the math off the top of my head, but just like the amount of great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents, and like every one of them had life or death decisions a long time ago that they came out on top of, or at least they came out on top of long enough to make babies, to make you.
But what are you doing if you've got a group, you've got your own little portal or community, whatever you want to call it, your group, and you got some 14-year-old kid stealing food from you? Are you going to kill him? Right. I mean, what are you going to, if you, that's a tough call, but that's the kind of things that you're going to deal with that in society before we wouldn't even thought of. But he's stealing your food, and you don't have much food.
Though, I mean, historically, right? If you do any kind of historical reference, the theft of food is a capital punishment.
Yes. And so
anywhere you go. So either you have people capable of, it's like, I mean, we mentioned Jordan Peterson, but you know, the dangerous man, right? It's better to be dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of a warrior creed. You know, you have all these, you know, and we talked about it before the camera. I mean, it bounces around in my head. You know, I understand to a limit what I'm capable of just due to my past profession, right?
Right.
But, and don't think for a minute when somebody cuts in front of me, those intrusive thoughts don't just pop into my head, right?
Yeah.
But it's the ability, it's the discipline, right? And they call it kind of a warrior creed. It's like, yeah, there's savagery there, but it's only unleashed when it's, you know, sanctioned, so to speak, or acceptable. And then otherwise, you have to have the discipline to control that, right?
Right. Yeah, that's that.
Somebody stealing food's going to get kicked to the curb.
Yeah,
they're going to get.
And you're going to deal if this happens with regular people, not military people. And these people, these people are not used to discipline. This kid here, I'm just using a made up person, but let's say this same kid shoplift at the grocery store sometimes. If he got caught, they slap him on the wrist. He gets a ticket. He gets in trouble because he's a juvenile. Well, it's a whole different ball of wax now when an EMP hits and there aren't no food. Because people there's so many people, just like AOC or something today. Why do you have to do that to cows? You can just go down to the grocery store and get your food. That grocery store is not going to be there with food. It's not a magical place that you just open the doors and the shelves are full. There's not going to be no food.
And that livestock wandering around patties and stuff is going to have to be protected, right?
Yeah. So,
and it's going to be protected by people that don't care why you're trying to take their cows.
Right. But
they're just going to shoot you.
It's going to be a very interesting world we're going to live in if that ever happens, and I hope it never does, because we take so many things for granted. You've been in third world countries. You were in special forces, correct?
I was Marine Force Recon, so special forces. People kind of confused. So there's only one special forces, and that's the Army Green Berets, and they're a phenomenal organization, right? Worked with a lot of them. So that is special forces. Special operations is a combined, like, the SEALs, now the Marines with MARSOC. So I was a Force Recon guy for a long, long time, which I always laugh because in the Marine Corps, people are like, oh, Force Recon. A lot of people don't know what it is. There were maybe 120 of us, 130 of us in the Marine Corps out of, at one point, 225,000 people. There were like 60 on each coast. And it was an amazing unit. It is a special operations unit, even though the Marine Corps didn't want to class, nobody's special in the Marine Corps, everybody's special. But we did hostage rescue, we did ship takedowns. I was a military free fall parachutist, I was a combatant diver. We did demolitions, we did in extremis hostage rescue training, although everybody that listens to this understands that there's only two groups that are really going to do a hostage rescue.
There's a new game. I don't call it a game. It's a service you can buy. Russian citizens now can pay money to go on a Somalian cruise where they entice the pirates to come try to take over the boat, and these people get to shoot and kill these people.
No.
Yeah, I swear to God. Yes, it's happening right now. You pay 100,000 rubles or rubies or whatever the hell it is, and you get a spot. And if they come try to take over your ship, you get to shoot at them to defend it, and you get to kill them. And people are paying that money.
Wow.
Did you have to deal with the Somalian pirates ever?
No.
My question is, how the fuck do those one little boats take over a big ass boat? I've never understood. Those guys are either shitty shots. I've never understood how they can do that.
Well, there's a policy, right? So they run up with most shipping lanes. So it's kind of like, think a Circle K. Somebody comes in and robs a Circle K. They're not supposed to resist. They're supposed to give up their money and go. Same thing with these big shipping companies because insurance handles it, right? These little fishing trawlers come up, and then don't remember, but most of the maritime shipping forces are like, I've seen a ton of Filipinos, Indians, Pakistanis. These are the crews that handle these ships. So they're not armed. They get freaked out. There's little ladders. You can zig and zag and do all this stuff. But remember, we get on board vessels that don't want us on board from the sea. So certainly pirates can do it. Right?
Right.
We'll get on your ship. You ain't got to worry about that. You can fire hose and grappling hooks and whatever. We're coming on board. You just got to deal with what's going to happen to you after the fact that we had to fight through all that stuff. We're not going to be real happy about it. But so they can get. I mean, it's not the size of the ship because the weight creates problems and all this other stuff. It's just the crew will shut down their engines because they see an RPG. And it can penetrate the hull. But then you're like, okay, well, if you shoot the hull, then the ship sinks and you don't get your money.
Yeah,
it's one of I don't.
But it just seems to me like one guy with a damn high-powered rifle that can shoot a little bit could thwart that pretty fast. It's not like you can sneak up on somebody in the ocean.
No. And unfortunately, where it's kind of bottlenecked, where most of the interactions happen. And then, this kind of piracy, it goes on to a smaller level, down in the Caribbean where yachts are boarded in the middle of the night, basic bandits, but because it's at sea, they call them pirates, rob you and then take off. It happens in South Africa. It happens all over the world where people sail. So it's just one of those deals. But the Russians took it to a new level. So we have to deal with maritime law, which I actually had to cover a lot when I was on that UK exchange with the Royal Marines. But maritime law and international waters and coastal waters and all this nonsense where really you can take all the fluff out of it. It's not your boat. I'm not giving you my boat. And then here's a 50 cal round to dissuade you from trying to take my boat.
Jeff just
That's the way I think about it, but I'm not a lawyer.
Right. Yeah.
It just needs to be cheaper in insurance to hire a couple mercenaries with high-powered rifles to sink them fuckers when they're a half a mile away.
And they're doing that. A lot of the companies are doing that. But then you got to add, okay, what are they doing? So they'll get a vessel. So and remember, corruption and greed's in here too, right?
Yeah.
So the little crew goes, I'm just going to shut off the engine. They take it into coastal waters. They download this oil or whatever merchandise. The ship's still sitting there and they're negotiating for a ransom. And then meanwhile, they're taking all this stuff off to other markets, black markets.
Yeah.
So it's pretty elaborate. It's pretty interesting.
So you were in the Marines for, you said 22 years, right?
Yeah. Just shy of 22 years.
How
21 years, 8 months or whatever.
How long did you contract for?
5 years.
5 years? What's the appeal to that? Like, so my question is, why do you get out of the military and then just go into contracting? More money?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom line. The camaraderie is not there. I think it would be so. Oh, and we didn't get through with the whole special forces thing. So Army Special Forces and Special Operations Forces, two different things. Army Green Berets, and then you got SEALs, MARSOC, Air Force. I don't know if Space Force has a Special Operations group. So those groups are grouped into Special Operations, where Special Forces is Army Green Berets specific.
Mm-hmm.
And people, I was in Force Recon, and then I really, really had a lot of the stars aligned, and ended up finishing off my last 3 years with 1st Marine Special Operations Battalion at Camp Pendleton.
And then where did you go during where did you deploy your last bit of your career?
Right there at Marine Special Operations Battalion, but I went with Force. I think my last deployment was 2005 to Iraq.
That was like the worst time over there, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know. And I will say, right, there's just like when you write a book, there's new chapters to your life. And when you're a Force Recon Marine or any special operations or special forces guy, that's where you want to go. Like, I don't want to go do a peacekeeping mission in frickin' Bengali somewhere, hand out MREs and basketballs. I want to go fight the bad guys. And that was the place to go fight the bad guys. And we were out west, out by Al-Assad, which is a big air base, between Baghdad and the Syrian border. And it was literally just the Wild West out there. It was crazy.
But that's what you train for. Everybody I know that's in this line of work, that's what they want to do. They don't want to be stateside. They want to go fight stuff. So was you ever?
I spent 40 days out there on my own, not on my own, but with my platoon. And if you know how the military is structured, I didn't have an officer. I didn't have anybody. I was operating independently, but in support of a Marine infantry battalion, which really lucked out because it's a guy, the colonel had been a captain when I had deployed as a younger recon Marine. He was now the colonel. So when I walked in, he knew who I was. I knew who he was. And he let me do whatever I wanted to do. And I told my wife, out of 21, almost 22 years, that 40 days was the pinnacle of I implemented everything I thought I knew correctly, and it was a phenomenal 40 days. Like, it was proof.
Yeah.
Like, what you're doing, you've applied it, and it works.
Just get shit done for 40 days.
Just getting it done. It was madness, and it was amazing.
Were you nervous at all? Like whenever you like, do you know ahead of time you're going to be out there for 6 weeks?
Well, we deployed out there. We knew because it had they'd kind of left that area alone because, you know, the political pulse controls the military pulse. So, hey, you guys need to calm it down or whatever. And so it had been left alone. So when we showed up, I mean, when we pulled into camp, within a half an hour, we're still unloading the trucks, and the bad guys saw us coming. We had different Humvees, we had different equipment, right? They knew there was something different going on, and they mortared us within like a half hour of showing up there. So we're in our accommodations, and all of a sudden mortars started going, and this poor young Marine sitting there showing us around. There's a whole platoon of Force Recon guys, and we just started laughing. We're like, hey, welcome to, you know, the location we were at. And we just started laughing. And I remember looking at that kid. He was a young corporal. He was just like, he was horrified. Like, what is wrong with these guys? We're like, well, we got some work to do.
And then how long does it take for you to go find out who the fuck is mortaring us so early?
It doesn't take very long. I mean, yeah, I mean, and I will tell you, I mean, there's nobody that's not scared. Remember, you got a physiological response going on in your body. So you're under fire. But and I will say one of the secrets of leadership is if you're in a leadership position, you're kind of cheating because you have to think about everybody else. Right?
Yeah.
So you'll hear the snaps and all the peculiar things that go on in combat. And really your focus, you know, when I was a young guy, the snaps were very personal, very like, oh God, somebody's trying to kill me. And then when you come to the realization, you go, well, yeah, it's only fair. We're trying to kill them too. So, you know, they get a say in this game. But when you're in a leadership position, you're more worried about getting your job done and protecting your people than you are about you. So there will be times, and you know, I really don't go over stuff a lot, but there will be times where some of your guys are like, hey, do you remember doing this? And you don't remember doing it because you're working, right?
Yeah.
You need to figure out where you need to be and what you need to be doing at that time. I will tell you though, as a leader, you shouldn't be like, you're not going to be shooting your weapon very often.
Right.
You know, you're trying to figure out what's going on. That doesn't mean the enemy's not shooting their weapon at you. But like I said, you know, don't take it personally. You know? When did
the rules of engagement come into play? Like where it's like, don't fire unless you're fired upon, and like make sure that, you know, all this. It's just crazy that we're in a war and now we've got rules to follow.
Yeah. You have an inherent right to self-defense, right? Regardless, as a human. And then on the battlefield, if, you know, it's the battlefield.
I just don't think, I just don't know why.
I think with the rules of engagement is, you know, we get back to that savagery of some EMP or nuclear strike or something like that. We're trying to control the savagery of warfare. And so we put stipulations on it like ROEs and all this other stuff. But at the street level, everyone involved understands what the rules are, right? And we operate within those rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't think it's fair that you guys have to sit and have somebody shoot at you before you can shoot at them.
You don't have to do that.
I mean, you shouldn't.
That's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with you. 100% at 110%.
they say like, hey, that guy's got a gun, but unless he points it at you, but it's kind of like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
The intent to kill you is still there.
Let's before we get out of here, you said something earlier about the publishing company. Raven, what was it called?
Raven Thorn.
Is that a conglomerate of guys, ex-military guys that are writing now?
No. So Boyd Craven is the publisher. And my buddy Rick that got me involved in this, he went through a couple different publishers that were garbage, right? And then he got to Boyd, and Boyd's like, listen, you want to write books? I'm going to help you write books. Guy retired from GM. I forget where he lives. He lives out on the East Coast, but he lives on a lake. I mean, he's got prepper tendencies, but he's just a good dude. His grandson writes. This is kind of his genre, and he welcomes you in with open arms, and then will help you through the entire process, which is amazing, right? And then he was just like, he's accessible, and I think, a lot like you guys are very pro-military. He was that way. He's like, yeah, you want to write a book? Are you serious about it? Okay, I'll help you. There's no deadlines or anything like that. He's very patient. The editors in there are great. It was a real good experience. And they've got a stable of authors that write in. There's some Christian post-apocalyptic. I'm having the same problem with that. And then there's post-apocalyptic, and there's some, monsters in the post-apocalyptic, mutations or whatever. There's some aliens. So there's different series, but he's got a real cool series, which my buddy writes for, is the Fall series. And it's the same event. It's an EMP strike against the United States, but it's told from authors in different parts of the country.
Oh, right.
So it's the same event, but Rick, my buddy's writing it from California. Another guy's writing it from Washington State. Another guy's writing it from the East Coast. Another guy's writing it from Texas. So it's kind of a cool conglomerations of different viewpoints.
Yeah, that'd be badass.
It's a rolling. There's a lot of books in it, and they're pretty interesting.
Yeah. Are you more of like, whenever you're writing like this, I would be like just in my own head, and I'd be prepping every day. Did you go to the paranoid route, or did you go like, I'll handle it if it happens?
No, I hate to say it. I'm kind of with Jeff. Like, I have what I have, right?
Yeah. And
if I need other Stuff, I'll go get it.
Right.
We'll just leave it at that. I don't get super paranoid. I'll tell you where I did get into my head, because it's a fiction book. So I would be writing and I'd be like, well, that's unrealistic. That doesn't happen. But then I thought, well, it's fiction. Right. Mm-hmm. So like Jeff, when you're reading this book, you're going to be running around downtown Baghdad with the character, but understand that I drove or walked those streets up until later in the book. Right. So there's some stuff, you got to write a book to be entertaining, but I tried to get out of my head in that aspect. Also understanding, I feel bad about this too. When you write these books, you realize that, like you said, with medical issues, and it's kind of depressing, but you're like, my mom wouldn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. That's the reality.
Yeah. And so that's the stuff you kind of sit here and go, dang, that sucks. Writing in this genre. But you also try to do, you try to do upbeat too. Like you got to remind yourself that Americans, for the most part, are very good people. But you also got to understand that at a certain point, those very good pioneer prodigies are going to cut you loose if you're stealing food or you don't provide a service. Like if you're a doctor, you can go anywhere in the post-apocalyptic world.
Right. Fuck, I should have been a doctor.
Well,
I'm screwed in the post-apocalyptic world because all I can do is
you're a hunter, man.
I can only blow a goose call and turn on podcast shit. I am done. I'm gonna be the first one that gets ousted.
You can hunt and you can do construction and you're smart, common sense, and we live in a small town.
I don't have street smart, Jeff. Those are the people that get picked off and taken advantage of.
There ain't much street smarts out here. You know who you're gonna be, who's gonna benefit from this book you wrote and this series of books are the people that sell prepping shit, because when the Democrats are in office, everybody buys into the world shit. As soon as we get a Republican in, everybody quits buying this stuff. I got a bunch of shit I bought when Obama was in office still. Mm-hmm. I've got, a bunch of 5-gallon buckets full of the prepper stuff, and I hope I never have to use them. But by gosh, I tell people this today.
Your rice is probably sprouted by now.
No, it's supposed to be good for 20 years.
We'll see.
But people,
start eating it.
But people need to, if you don't have anything at all, what's $300 or $400 to have a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket that's got 100 meals in it, just in case? Stick it in your closet.
Did you buy that Patriot, whatever?
I don't.
I bet he did. He fell for every scam that was out there.
I bought I know which company you're talking from. I bought it from the same company I bought it from when Obama was in office. The same deal on Amazon. You can buy buckets of MREs and all that kind of shit. But I have some. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I have I wish I could give them a plug because I think it's really good stuff. But I was in the protection. I was doing a protection detail down in Houston when that hurricane hit, and I went into work early. And what I did notice is a lot of people didn't have power, and they're just outside of Houston where the estate was. And I noticed that people with pickup trucks, regular people, were out with chainsaws doing work right away. Mm-hmm. They weren't waiting on the local or state or anybody to get busy. They were out there doing their stuff. But after I came home, I think while I was down there, I was watching that crap go down. And it's a ultra wealthy family that I was working for. That was the conversation where the generator went out, all this other stuff, and nobody could get in to do it. And I'm out there trying to work on a generator for these people, but it didn't come out. But I ordered a week's worth of food from that Patriots place, whatever. It's kind of like MREs, but better. And that's stored in the house. So I figure if it's 3 meals a day for a week, then I can put that out to like 3 weeks, because you don't need to eat a meal every day.
Right.
You don't need to eat 3 meals in a survival situation. So I did that. And then that's also something we didn't talk about. So I'm in the protection business now. All these rich people that are building bunkers and stuff, you don't think the people that protect them, that they rely on to protect them, are going to leave because they've got to protect their own families.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, that's another thing that's kind of crazy right now is we're hearing of all these uber rich people that are building bunkers. I feel like, I don't know, I'm worried that they know something that I don't.
I just looked up. It's Valley Foods, and they've got Valley Foods on Amazon. You can buy 2,100 servings for $3,500.
Damn.
You got a family of 4, and now here's a problem. If we're going to be living 2, 3, 4 years this way, I don't know if I want to play that game.
You don't know if you want to live off MREs for that long.
I don't know if I'm ready for Chick-fil-A or something to open. But if
this is what life is reduced to, just count me out.
But you need to buy enough to get you through one gardening season. Is what you need to do.
Yeah, probably. I think, I don't know. We have so many commodities, man, but what do you really like to do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it, as horrific as it sounds, it's like when you're deployed to a combat zone. Life is really, really, really simple. And I think that's sometimes veterans have a hard time dealing with that. Is when you come home is all the complications. But when you're deployed in a real combat zone, not like sitting on a fob and just, wasting away, but when you're in the fight doing what you're supposed to be doing, life is so simple.
Yeah.
It is so simple.
Yeah.
And then when you get home, you're like, oh, fuck. Life's not so simple.
No.
So I think, everything goes to shit. After the initial, like a year or two, life's going to be so simple.
Right. Yeah. But
Is that weird?
Yeah, it's crazy because like the stakes are higher, life is simpler, but you're playing for keeps. And then you get back over here and life is all, like you said, it's all fucking complicated and it's just problems to work through all day, but you don't have life or death at your doorstep every hour of every day.
And that takes away, I'm going to tell you.
We've traded off.
Yeah. The BS that gets in this, it's 4 Patriots at Survival Foods. That's what I was looking at. I had to look it up. Sorry. 4 Patriots. But that's the ones I got. But all the BS kind of goes to the side, right? If it does not keep you alive and allow you to accomplish your mission, there is no, we're just going to do this because it'll make Karen feel better, or we're going to do this for whatever reason. It gets thrown to the wayside because it could cost you your life.
Yeah.
So there's just no. It's just so simple. It's hard to explain. Yeah. But I think you guys get it.
No, I get it. It makes total sense. We're not going to call you a fucking cat, all right? Like you're a human being, and if you don't shapen up, we're gonna throw you in the river.
Yeah.
Enough of this. Yeah, enough of this shit.
That's it.
Yeah, you're a weirdo. We don't need your genes.
Yeah.
You're not what we need to move on in civilization.
Yeah, and that's a hard one, right? Okay, I get it. You think you're something you're not. That's fine, but you're not a benefit. It's brutal and it's simple.
Right. Yes, I get it. It makes total sense. All right, last question. Do you think that we will ever see anything like this in our lifetime?
No.
Thank God.
I don't think so either.
Thank God.
Because you said it earlier, there's no reason for China or some of these countries to do it because they rely on us to feed them. They would be biting the hand that feeds the face.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you forget. So we have 2 oceans.
Yeah.
Right? So geologically, we're in a great location.
Yes.
But people forget that there's a great demo on YouTube, like the United States against the world. And if you watch it, it's like 15 minutes. So everybody in the world against the United States. We win. You can't get at us because of the Navy.
Yeah.
Think about the U.S. Navy for a minute. Go ahead. Hit the Atlantic. Come across with an invasion fleet. Ain't going to happen.
Yep.
You ain't getting across the Atlantic. Hit the Pacific. You ain't getting across the Pacific. You're just not going to make it.
And Canada's not going to attack us.
No. And what's crazy is, so in Baghdad, these Canadians would come across all the time. They're Canadian Special Forces guys. I don't know what they're not Army Green Beret, but they're Special Operations guys, Canadian. They were amazing. Mm-hmm. But they're super nice, just like Canadians are, right? And I think they were super nice until it was time not to be super nice. But Canada has always been with us. Vietnam, Korea. Nobody ever hears about it, but Canada kind of rolls with us. The Canadians are very Midwestern. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
And Europe's been with us too, right? For all of our conflicts. They're kind of ride or die with us also.
Yeah. The UK is, even though, we're like a little brother and a big brother, I did the exchange over there and there's a lot of BS talked. Especially when you're the lone American in the sergeant's mess. But I just reminded him, I'm like, you guys live on a little tiny island.
Yeah.
We went. And they get all butthurt. But the UK, but the thing is we don't, if we got out of our own way and we're very good. Like, I hate it when people are like, oh, Americans are doing it. Yeah, in war zones, terrible things happen. It's just the way it is. But Americans in general are they're going to do what they're supposed to do, but they're also going to lean over backwards to do the right thing for people in other countries. You know what I'm saying? We're not just running around cutting people's heads off and hands off, letting them sit in the street or burning people alive. We don't do that. So it always, UK would be with us. I'm not sure about the rest of Europe, but I don't know. Just me personally, like, if we don't need anybody, then we don't need anybody.
Mm-hmm. No, We
Okay.
got that ass
You
whooped
want to
already.
throw in with us? Okay. But you gotta pull your load, and then we're going to ask for something in return if we're, like kind of what's going on with NATO right now. The current administration is like, hey, what do we get?
Yeah. Right. We're funding this whole thing, and what do we get? And what do we get in return? We fund it, and we go fight your battles for you. We're getting it on both ends. Our money's not good enough. Now we got to go send our kids over there.
Yeah. And that's, that's a big whole nother, I'm sure, conversation. But yeah, I don't think anything like this will happen. I think,
thank God.
The more comfortable we get, that's what I think. One of the biggest benefits of deploying for military people, like one of my cousins just went to Baghdad. He's in the Army. He's not going to have any combat time or anything like that. But I think when you come home and you kind of walk around and you're just like, wow, there is absolutely no place like the United States.
Mm-hmm.
None. It's not even close. You may say Australia, you may say the UK. Nope. This is a wholly unique place, and we take advantage of it all the time.
Yeah. That's why everybody's fighting to get over here. I mean, that's why we're in the position that we're in. I also think we're in the position that we're in because we've let too many people over here. China and them don't have problems like this because everybody's fucking Chinese over there. Everybody that comes here is like a little different.
We're multicultural, and that is our problem.
You're right. I mean, it's a great place, and we built amazing things, but I think a lot of our problems is we've got too many people here that are holding on to their old ways of life, where it is a lot more simple to. It's easier for me to buy your bullshit if you look like me, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what. Now I feel sorry for the people in Europe. The Muslims are ruining that place, and I saw a video of Dearborn, Michigan, with them acting like fools all on the streets, just in their black hijabs and jumping around and bullshit. And that's something our country is going to have to address, or we're going to be just like Germany and all them other countries where they're taking over and they're ruining it.
I just think that your job would lead you to be way more paranoid than the average person. Blending in, finding, you realize that everybody's watching you. I just don't think it would. I'd be paranoid forever.
So here's the old analogy, right? So when I was teaching the martial arts course in the Marine Corps, what we found out, and I've always been into different versions of martial arts, and I include wrestling and boxing and all that into martial arts. The more confident you are in your abilities, less likely you are to start a fight.
Right.
Like I have lines. So if I'm out by myself, you can pretty much, I'm not going to do anything to you unless it's a threat against me physically. You can call me names, you can do whatever. When my family's there, so that line gets pushed out a little farther.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But when I'm out by myself, like at night or whatever, stop at a gas station. I mean, I mitigate risk as much as I can.
Right.
But I'm not really scared that somebody's going to roll up on me because I'm looking for that.
Right.
And then I have countermeasures for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
you roll with the punches more because you just know what the operating procedure is. Yeah.
Yeah. So the more confident you are, I don't think you give yourself enough credit. I think, you're a hunter.
Yeah.
You're a capable male.
And I'm a 4-stripe white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too. So pretty good.
Hell yeah. You know enough just to get yourself hurt.
That's exactly right. If my attacker has a gi on and we start on the ground, he is fucked.
He's done.
He's done. All I need are those two things. Let's start on the ground. I don't want to have to hurt myself on a takedown, and you got to put this jacket on, and I can strangle you to death.
I will tell you, though, if you're in a business environment, which I am a lot on the protection details, is in my head, somebody's wearing a sports coat or something like that, that's fucked. A gi to me, so just remember that.
They're fucked. They're fucked.
I will jack you Three Ways to Sunday.
Yeah.
So now we're full circle back to Jordan Peterson. Be a dangerous man, but know how to control it.
That's right. Be a warrior in a garden, not a gardener in a war.
That's right.
That's the way to be. Well, listen, Aaron, we appreciate you coming on here. All the best luck with your book. Jeff's going to read it, before lunch and brag about it. So
I'll have it read by Wednesday. I can't wait.
Anytime.
I started it. It's absolutely amazing. It's a great read. It captivated me. Please check it out. Go up and check it out. Buy the thing, and do yourself a favor. You'll be really happy.
Yep. So listen, we'd love to have you back on sometime. It's been a fun talk, and there's a bunch of avenues. We can go down.
Hey, I'm writing book 2 right now, so and I'm going to include a lot of the human trafficking and drug routes from South America to the United States into the novel, the actual routes. So it's turning out to be pretty interesting. I'm on chapter 10 already.
That's
good deal.
badass.
Fractured States by Aaron Moore. Check it out. You can buy it on Amazon. Aaron, thank you very much. Y'all done a great job raising Josh. God bless you, my friend. Look forward to the second book also.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye.
Very interesting guy.
Yes,
Very interesting guy. Our military, it's amazing the things they do.
Lived a life.
Yep. Anyways, check out the book, Fractured States. Come by and say hi to me at Squad Fest. I'll see you then. Thanks. Peace. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. If I can get this up.
God bless. Bye. Watch for deer.
Watch for deer. Check out all of our great sponsors. Go check out Ducks Unlimited. Get that out of my system. Dirty Duck Coffee, Shin Gear, Looking Glass Podcast, Lucky Duck, Mossberg, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells, Stanfield Outfitters, Mallard Bay, and Mitchell Chevrolet.